Yesterday we were reading the 6 recollections in this one. Halfway, we have covered the recollection of the Buddha, the recollection of the Dhamma, and the recollection of the Sangha. Today we're going to continue. Further, Mahanama, a noble disciple recollects his own moral discipline thus: I possess the moral virtues dear to the noble ones, unbroken, untorn, unblemished, unmortal, freeing, praised by the wise, ungrasped, leading to concentration. When a noble disciple recollects his own moral discipline thus, on that occasion his mind is not obsessed by lust, hatred, or delusion. His mind is straight, with virtue as its object. This is called a noble disciple who dwells evenly amid an uneven population, who dwells without affliction amid an afflicted population, who has entered upon the stream of the Dhamma and develops recollection of moral discipline. Okay, so the fourth recollection, a noble disciple recollects his own moral discipline. Okay, next, Sister Chaikon, would you like to read?
Further, Mahanama, a noble disciple, recollects his own generosity thus: it is a gain for me. It is well gained by me, that in a population obsessed by the stain of stinginess, I dwell at home with a mind devoid of the stain of stinginess, freely generous, open-handed, delighting in relinquishment, one devoted to charity, delighting in giving and sharing. When a noble disciple recollects his own generosity thus, on that occasion, his mind is not obsessed by lust, hatred, or delusion. His mind is straight, with generosity as its object. This is called a noble disciple who dwells evenly amid an uneven population, who dwells without affliction amid an afflicted population, who has entered upon the stream of the Dhamma and developed recollection of generosity. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Sister Chaikon. The fifth recollection, the noble disciple recollects his own generosity. I think if you join any society, you can notice that those people who are very generous, they actually, I would say, from my observation, gain the most benefits from that society. Generous not just in terms of money, but in terms of giving their time, volunteering. Yes, and there's this term I recently read from the social media. It's called givers get. Yeah. So the more you give, the more you get. Yeah. This is very simple term, but very, I think, very true. Givers get. Yeah. So this is the fifth recollection about generosity. Okay, the last recollection, Sister Shomi, would you like to read?
Further, Mahanama, a noble disciple develops the recollection of the devas first. There are devas in the various heavenly realms. There is found in me such faith, moral discipline, learning, generosity, and wisdom as those devas possess, because of which, when they pass away from this world, they will be born there. When a noble disciple recollects his own faith, moral discipline, learning, generosity, and wisdom, as well as those of the devas, on that occasion, his mind is not obsessed by lust, hatred, or delusion. His mind is straight, with the Devas as its object. This is called the noble disciple, who dwells evenly amid an uneven population, who dwells without affliction amid an afflicted population, who has entered upon the stream of the Dharma and develops recollection of the Devas. A noble disciple, Mahanama, who has arrived at the fruit and understood the teachings, often dwells in just this way.
Okay, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. This is taken from Anguttara Nikaya 610. The last recollection of the 6 is the recollection of Devas. Okay. And footnotes number 24. Bhikkhu Bodhi here abridged the text, which here enumerates the different heavenly realms. If you'd like to revisit what are the different heavenly realms, it's in the earlier chapter, The Way to a Fortunate Rebirth, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so that's about the 6 recollections. Anything you'd like to add or comment on this, Sutta? Okay, just to summarize, the first 3 is the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. And the next one is moral discipline. After moral discipline would be generosity, and after generosity, the last one would be recollection of the Devas. And that would be the 6 recollections, a popular meditation subject. Okay, if no comments, we can start reading the next sutta. I think this could be pretty long. Sister Saikin, would you like to read?
8. The 4 establishments of mindfulness. Number 1. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living in the Kuru country, where there was a town of the Kurus named Dhamma. There he addressed the monks thus. Monks, Venerable Sir, they replied. The Blessed One said this. Monks, this is the one-way path for the purification of beings, for the surmounting of sorrow and lamentation, for the passing away of pain and dejection, for the attainment of the true way, for the realization of Nibbana, namely, the 4 establishments of mindfulness. What are the 4? Here, monks, a monk dwells contemplating the body in the body, ardent, clearly comprehending, and mindful, having subdued longing and dejection in regard to the world. He dwells contemplating feelings in feelings, ardent, clearly comprehending, and mindful, having subdued longing and dejection in regard to the world. He dwells contemplating mind in mind, ardent, clearly comprehending, and mindful, having subdued longing and dejection in regard to the world. He dwells contemplating phenomena in phenomena, ardent, clearly comprehending, and mindful, having subdued longing and dejection in regard to the world. Thank you.
Thanks, Sister Saikyang. Here, we start with the background. The Buddha is talking to the monk. He's addressing the monks. Monks, Venerable Sir. And then the Buddha starts to explain the one-way path. Okay. Footnotes number 25. The Pali reads, this one-way path, Ekaya no ayang bhikkhave mago. Almost all translators have understood this statement to be a declaration that Satipatthana is an exclusive path. Thus, Somathera renders it, this is the only way, O bhikkhus, and Nyanaponika Thera, this is the sole way, monks. However, at Majjhima Nikaya 12, 37 to 42. Ekayana Magga has the unambiguous meaning of a path that goes in one way only. And that seems the meaning that fits best here as well. The point seems to be simply that Satipatthana goes in one direction toward the purification of beings, the realization of Nibbana. So the Buddha starts with telling the monks, addressing the monks, there's this path, and then the Buddha starts to enumerate this, the four establishments of mindfulness. What are the four? The first one, contemplating body in the body. Highlight. The second, feelings in feelings. The third one, mind in mind. And the last one, phenomena in phenomena. And then we will dive into each one of these in detail afterwards. There is footnotes number 26 here. Okay, pretty long one here. PS says the repetition, contemplating the body in the body, kaye kayanupasi, has the purpose of precisely determining the object of contemplation and of isolating that object from others with which it might be confused. Thus, in this practice, the body should be contemplated as such and not one's feelings, ideas, and emotions concerning the body. The praise also means that the body should be contemplated simply as a body and not as a man, woman, a self, or a living being. Parallel consideration apply to the repetitions with regard to each of the other three establishments of mindfulness. Longing and dejection, abhijja domanasang, according to PS, imply sensual desire and ill will, the chief among the five mental hindrances. So this footnotes explain why it is called body in the body, and not just contemplating the body. That's footnotes number 26, and one more, footnotes number 27. On the structure of the discourse to follow, see page 262 and 263. Okay, Sister Aikim, would you like to continue?
Contemplation of the body. 1. Mindfulness of breathing. 4. And how, monks, does a monk dwell contemplating the body in the body? Here, a monk gone to the forest, to the foot of a tree, or to an empty hut, sits down, having folded his legs crosswise, straightened his body, and established mindfulness in front of him. Just mindful, he breathes in, mindful, he breathes out. Breathing in long, he understands, I breathe in long. Or breathing out long, he understands, I breathe out long. Breathing in short, he understands, I breathe in short. Or breathing out short, he understands, I breathe out short. He trains thus, I will breathe in experiencing the whole body. He trains thus, I will breathe out experiencing the whole body. He trains thus, I will breathe in tranquilizing the body formation. He trains thus, I will breathe and breathe out tranquilizing the body transformation of the body formation. Just as a skilled left worker or his apprentice When making a long turn, understands, I make a long turn. Or when making a short turn, understands, I make a short turn. So too, breathing in among understands, I breathe, So too, breathing in long among understands, I breathe in long. It trains thus, I will breathe out, tranquilizing the bodily formation. 5. In this body, he dwells contemplating the body in the body internally, or he dwells contemplating the body in the body externally, or he dwells contemplating the body in the body both internally and externally, or else he dwells contemplating in the body its nature of arising, or he dwells contemplating in the body its nature of vanishing, or he dwells contemplating in the body its nature of both arising and vanishing, or else mindfulness that there is a body is simply established in him to the extent necessary for bare knowledge and repeated mindfulness, and he dwells independent, not clinging to anything in the world. That is how a monk dwells contemplating the body in the body. Thank you.
Like him. The first one of all contemplation, firstly, the contemplation of the body, and the first of the contemplation of the body is a very popular meditation subject, mindfulness of breathing. Footnotes number 28. The practice of mindfulness of breathing, anapanasati, does not involve a deliberate attempt to regulate the breath, as in hatha yoga, but an effort to fix awareness continuously on the breath as one breathes at a natural rhythm. Mindfulness is set up at the nostrils or the upper lip, wherever the impact of the breath is felt most distinctly. The length of the breath is noted but not consciously controlled. Then footnotes number 29. P.S. in line with other Pali commentaries explains experiencing the whole body, sabaka yapati samvedi, to mean that the meditator becomes aware of each in-breath and out-breath through its three phases of beginning, middle, and end. This interpretation is difficult to square with the literal words of the original text, which may have originally intended simply a global awareness of the entire body. It is also difficult to see how pati samvedi could mean is aware of. This suffix is based on the word pati samvedeti, meaning to experience or to feel, which has a different nuance from awareness. Yeah, this is a technical footnotes. Yeah, for those who are into the Pali terms, this will be useful for you. Footnotes number 30. The bodily formation, Kaya Sankara, is defined as in and out breathing at Majjhima Nikaya 44:13 and Samyutta Nikaya 41:6. Thus, as P.S. explains, with the successful development of this practice, the meditator's breathing becomes increasingly more quiet, tranquil, and peaceful. Okay, 31. Internally, contemplating the breathing in his own body, our own body, internal. Externally, contemplating the breathing taking place in the body of another, other people. Internally and externally, contemplating the breathing in his own body and body of another, alternately, with uninterrupted attention. A similar explanation applies to the refrain that follows each of the other sections, except that under the contemplation of feeling, mind, and phenomena, the contemplation externally apart from those possessing telepathic powers must be inferential. It is also impossible for those without telepathic powers to directly contemplate the breathing of another, apart from observation of the expansion and contraction of the chest. So contemplation in this case too must be inferential. Yeah. So when here is mentioned contemplating the breathing of others, don't go around that person and go close to that person and then take a look at his nose. Yeah. Breathing in, breathing out. Then that person will be like, what the hell are you doing? Oh, I was practicing mindfulness of breathing externally according to the sutta. Yeah, don't do that. So the process here, Bhikkhu Bodhi says, is inferential. Yeah. Just imagine the breath of others, how others are breathing in and breathing out. Okay, the last footnotes, 32. PS explains that the arising nature, samudaya dhamma of the body, can be observed in its condition origination through ignorance, craving, karma, and food, as well as in the moment-by-moment origination of material phenomena in the body. In the case of mindfulness of breathing, an additional condition is the physiological apparatus of respiration. The vanishing nature, vaya dhamma, of the body is seen in the cessation of bodily phenomena through the cessation of their conditions, as well as in the momentary dissolution of bodily phenomena. Okay, so that concludes the first meditation subject of the contemplation of the body, mindfulness of breathing. Okay, Sister Billy, would you like to read the next one? Oops.
Sorry to interrupt, but can we ask questions first?
Yeah, sure.
Because, yeah.
Do you have any questions?
So when you are using the breath as a meditation object, okay, so we know what it means when we say we use the breath as the meditation object. But what happens when, let's say you're listening to a Dharma talk, all right? And many of us, well, maybe you would like to be able to absorb the Dharma, or you are using the Buddha as the object of meditation. Then what happens to the breath? Am I making sense?
Yes, yes. Okay, would anyone like to answer? Okay.
Bhikkhu Analayo, when he conducts the Satipatthana retreat, he says this breathing can become a background. So it's like you're driving a car, so you're seeing the front, your
Dashboard.
objects of meditation, that kind of thing. You have to focus, right? You have to see the traffic and all that. But you have a rear mirror to look at behind. So he said this breath is there all the time. So we can shift the focus on whether you want, originally contemplating of the body, the breathing and all that. But the breathing is there. It's just that it's behind the whole picture as a background. So he has this open awareness, which you can always come back to the contemplation of the body, as in this breathing. Anytime you want, you can just, for example, you have a lot of thoughts coming, and then you get distracted, that kind of thing. And then you want to calm your mind. You can bring this breathing to the forefront and make this the body contemplation, and from there, you know, you sort of like manage to subdue all those thoughts, don't follow the thoughts. Then after that, you put it background again, and then you can continue your vipassana on other objects, other things, something like that. Yeah. So the breathing is there as the background.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Thanks, Sister Shomei, and thanks, Sister Saikyang, for helping out. Okay, would Sister Billy like to read one more section? Let me share the screen again.
To the four postures. Again, monks, when walking, a monk understands I'm walking. And standing, he understands I'm standing. And sitting, he understands I'm sitting. When lying down, he understands I'm lying down. Or he understands accordingly however his body is disposed. In this way, he dwells contemplating the body in the body internally, externally, and both internally and externally. And he dwells independent, not clinging to anything in the world. That too is how a monk dwells contemplating the body in the body.
Okay, thanks, Sister Billy.
Thank you.
Footnotes number 33. The understanding of the bodily postures referred to in this exercise is not our normal knowledge of our bodily activity, but a close, constant, and careful awareness of the body in every position, coupled with an analytical examination intended to dispel the delusion of a self as the agent of bodily movement. Okay, I think this is a good time to stop. The four postures, let me highlight so that I remember. Any further questions or comments? We have covered this mindfulness in the previous book, The Noble Eightfold Path, but this is the first time we actually read the full sutta. Okay, any questions? Does Sister Choi Kwan have questions? No, okay. Because I was saying Sister Choi Kwan probably reaching out to the mic. About others?
Perhaps just an observation. This is the first time I come across awareness of breathing of an external body. I've not come across teaching on that also. So I won't venture into that. It's just, yeah, just an observation. I don't know whether any brothers or sister have heard about this practice before.
This is, I think, taken from Bhikkhu Analaji's Satipatthana, the meditation, the meditation guide. He did talk about this under the refrain. So just now we saw, right, the refrain is firstly you contemplate internally, and then the second one is you contemplate internally and externally. The third one is just to have bare awareness, and the fourth one is to dwell independently without clinging. So this one is his sort of like this 7 contemplations. Each contemplation he also talks about this. So at first, when we start contemplating it, we contemplate on internal first, because we start with ourselves first. Then we come to both internal and external. So we also think of the body as whatever we have, others have, that kind of thing. So you don't cling, you don't attach to it. Because sometimes you see really nice the other person, then you sort of like, have craving. Then the next stage is just to have bare awareness. I think that one is more like going to the open awareness. So you just contemplate on, you know that there is a body that exists, and this body is just the five aggregates, and you don't label it as this is mine, this is theirs, that kind of thing. Just see the body as a body. Yeah. And then the last part is, if you can do that, then eventually the aim is to dwell independently without clinging to anything, without clinging to anything. So that's the basic aim. So start with yourself, start with others, then just aware, and the aim is don't attach. So that is his teaching. Yeah, I also learned that from his this retreat. Then I come across this. Oh, there's this 4 refrain. If you're interested, go back to that Satipatthana practice guide. Yeah, the one he talks in detail how to do the practice. And do come and join in the next run. Although Bhikkhu Analayo is in solitary retreat for 1 year, but Bhikkhuni Dhammadina, yeah, if I'm not wrong, she will conduct the same retreat, Satipatthana, in 2023 May or June, yeah, during that period. So come and experience it yourself. It's fun and it's very rewarding, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice. Maybe you can share the details with us in the group chat.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Sister Saigen. Sister Shomi, do you have any comments?
I wanted to ask Sister Saikyang to whether she could repeat the rationale in the practice of the external in others, just to think about, contemplate in others.
So in when you practice internal, you have this you try to understand that your body is made up of only these 4 elements, that kind. And so you have this not attaching to yourself. But what about others? Then you have this external contemplation on, others also have this body, others also have this type of breathing. So same, it's the same. So also it lessens your clinging and attachment to the body of others and yourself, both. It works both ways also. Because sometimes we have this attachment to others. We like the body of others. We cling on to the body of others, and we fail to see that actually we are just made up of the 5 aggregates, and we are just made up of the 4 elements, and we are just made up of this bag of grains that he used the simile. It's just grains, beans, rice, and all that. So it's just liver, heart, lungs, the brain, the stomach, the contents, and all that. We don't see it because it's all wrapped up very nicely underneath the skin. And then we try to keep this skin very nice, very beautiful. Yeah. So it's just one way of helping us to really discover and know that the body eventually is impermanent when it go away and will arise and vanish, that kind of thing. Yeah. Just like the breath, I think. So, sorry. I think the 4 refrain, I got it wrong. It should be internally, externally. Then there's one also arising and vanishing. Yeah. And then, and then the bare awareness, and then the dwell independently.
I think Saikyang explains it perfectly. When we contemplate this internally, we are aware of this happening in ourselves. But when we contemplate externally, we realize that others are experiencing the same thing, that the Dharma is universal towards all human beings, actually all living beings. The impermanence applies universally. And Saikyang also mentioned that sometimes we take a look at others and we say, I want the shape of this of their body. For example, I want to be as handsome as Brad Pitt and having the body of The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and having the voice of Wong Lee-ho. But when we contemplate this externally, we realize they will also be affected by all this impermanence, aging, sickness, and death. And then we will start to gradually reduce our clinging, our attachment, our jealousy, all these kind of defilements. Thanks for the question.
And then sometimes when you sort of like put yourself in their shoe, like we are the same, you know, that kind of thing, and then you realize that actually everybody just wants happiness and don't want suffering. So you sort of like able to have more compassion, more loving kindness towards others. Like sometimes you want to quarrel already, you just think of how come this person cut my queue. Then you put yourself in their shoe and then you think, yeah, they also, you know, maybe lack of time, want to go and buy something, that kind of thing. So all living beings are just, you know, we are just trying to stay happy and to avoid suffering. So yeah, that's how we contemplate and cultivate and makes us happier person.
Very true. Very true. Thanks for the question, Sister Billy and Sister Shomei. Thanks for the explanation, Sister Saikyang.
Thank you, Sister Saikyang.
Thank you.
Would Sister Akim like to do the dedication?
回向，愿消三障诸烦恼，愿得智慧真明了，普愿罪障悉消除，世世常行菩萨道。阿弥陀佛。
Thanks, Sister Akim. Till we meet again, may we be guided by the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a mindful Thursday ahead.